Here's another project that I've been working on with other residents regarding the Wyndham City Council. And we put together a list of concerns, of which there are many with this council. And it would be things like they lack transparency, they're not very good at community engagement, even simple things like moving the public meeting from 7 p.m. to 6 to make it harder for people to get there after work. Or several times we've asked, we want to be able to ask our questions at the start of a public meeting so that the councillors at the meeting would know what our questions are and what our concerns are before they make their decisions. But we've been flat out told that is not going to happen. Our council does not want to change it. Right now, our questions are always pushed to the last item on the agenda. So then they start asking questions about things that happened on the agenda that have already been decided on. It's just stupidity. They have no intention of changing the current system because they don't want to hear what we have to say. We might influence what the councillors decide on the night, and they already have made up their minds behind closed doors about that. So just simple things like that. They're not very transparent at all. The second item is conduct during council meeting. Our council at the moment, especially the new one from January this year, are abysmal. God knows what's going on behind the scenes, how much bullying and harassment must be going on, and how much wheeling and dealing is going on behind the scenes. Hold me to that. Please, hold me to that. Somebody, I would like to make this public and discuss how they're making these decisions because they're not correct. There are dubious dealings going on behind the scenes. And that behaviour, that negative behaviour is spilling out into the public arena. We can see it at every public meeting every month. There's yelling, there's name calling, screaming, standing over, harassment, changing the rules on the fly. The mayor changes the rules on the fly. Firstly, she doesn't really know them well enough, and then she just changes them, and specifically to stop certain councillors from speaking publicly about things because they don't want people to hear what they have to say. It's very, very unfair, very, very unprofessional. The next one is we've got a lot of undue influence going on in the background, especially against the new councillors who don't know what's going on. And block voting. We have 11 councillors, and there's a certain group of 6 of them that vote as a block at every meeting. It's very obvious this is going on. And when we call it out, they ignore us. You know that's what's happening. They're making deals behind the scenes. At the last meeting when they adopted the budget, it was very, very obvious there had been deals made because some of the decisions that they passed, nobody wanted, but they got anyway. We believe that there's a misuse of community funds, especially with the Point Cook monies that should be spent in Point Cook but are not. Definitely ineffective community consultation. The council tends to go through tick box exercises where they put it on the loop. Sometimes they might have pop-ups, talk to, under 100 people, and that's supposed to represent the whole of the 320,000 people that live here. But when you try and bring it up, they say, oh no, we're doing a good job. We're not listening to you. And we believe there's a lot of political influence going in the background. This council is definitely captured by Labor. A lot of the members that are sitting on the councillors themselves are Labor members, and you can tell this is what's happening. The whole of the council is captured by it. Why do you think we're having all these woke policies being pushed and decisions being made? Because it's all Labor, and they're drowning out the rest. So that the poor councillors that are trying to represent their residents are not being heard. So we really want an intervention. We need independent monitors to go in there and watch what they're doing. So what I did, because there's a whole procedure about complaining about council, Wyndham City Council always flies under the radar. They haven't had monitors called in yet, but they should. And so what I did was, the first step was I approached council directly and I wrote to the CEO and pretty much said to him, I'm writing on behalf of myself and the residents to say that we want to formally request a meeting with you to discuss all of these concerns I just told you about. And his answer was basically the generic no. He basically said that, thank you for taking your time to write to me. Council recognises the fundamental importance of these things. In relations to these, They're basically saying they are following the rules, their rules that they wrote, and should you feel they are not being met, concerns about council decisions can be raised with the Ombudsman and the Local Government Inspectorate, which I will go to. And further to the request to appoint a monitor, it's not something that I do, but in the meantime, we'll continue to engage with you. So in other words, not going to do a thing about it. And so I have then wrote back and said it is clear, it is now clear, the Wyndham City Council is not prepared to provide meaningful assistance in addressing the concerns raised. While we note the references to policies and external bodies, this response does not directly engage with or resolve the issues outlined. Given this, we'll now proceed to take further steps through appropriate channels. We will be going to the Ombudsman, the Inspectorate, the local government representative, the MP, media now, because something has to be done about this and they have to be stopped.